They won't find her. She'll be in the witch's house by now. Do you know the story of the witch, Ethan? My dad said she used to take children from the village. Back in the olden days.
That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more.
Darling! You're making me late.
In every way.
Darling, are you coming?
Yes.
Well, I said I wanted to be there by 11, gone by 12, and back in London by 1:15.
You should have told me, then we could have synchronised our watches.
Yes, I wish we had.
Yes, I know you do.
Come. Quick.
Incredible that someone so unforgettable.
Tuppence!
Yes, coming! Can't you drive?
Oh.
I want to read my book.
Macbeth?
Macbeth.
I was in Macbeth at my prep school. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day.
I heard you were marvellous.
Who from?
You.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
Mr. Beresford.
Miss Packard.
How nice to see you again.
Darling.
Coming. Your Aunt Ada will be extremely pleased to see you. She's been asking after you for months. Although she does enjoy the postcards.
Ah, yes. I've been rather remiss, I'm afraid. Even this visit is squeezed in between visit strips.
Well, she's been looking out the window all morning, cursing everything and anything that might have made you too late.
Ah, yes. Do you really want to come in, darling? I could take that. And if she's in one of her moods, you know how she can be.
No, I'd like to see her. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, I like your brooch.
Oh, thank you.
It's pretty.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Lancaster.
Would you like a polo mint?
Oh, no, thank you.
Darling, come on.
The colour suits your eyes.
Come in.
Ha. Doesn't she look marvellous?
Hello, Ada.
I hope there are no jam or cakes in that basket you're clutching. I'm not an invalid, Tommy. I don't need charity.
No.
Kissing, please. What's in there?
I baked you a cake.
Well, take it back down to the kitchen or something. I'm sure Miss Packard will dish it out to the old biddies.
Well, you're one of the oldest biddies here, Aunt Ada.
To the young biddies, then. Sure some of them need a bit of fattening up. There's something I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
The United Nations building in New York, what's it like? I've been reading about it.
I haven't been, Aunt Ada.
You haven't been? Really, Tom? You're so clever. They should have let you run the place. Have you seen today's crossword?
No.
You get rid of those cakes. You never had the intelligence for this kind of thing. White House flowers away from the African plain.
Something felt. Rose felt, which means the answer's rose.
Hello. You look lost, my dear.
Do I? I was looking for Miss Packard's office.
It's on the ground floor.
Ah,
The quickest way is the back stairs.
thank you very much.
Come on, Marjorie.
Yes? Ada asked if this cake could be used for everyone.
Oh, thank you. Leave it there.
And jam. Is there somewhere where I could sit and wait for my husband?
Yes. This way.
Such a pretty brooch.
It was my mother's.
I think you must look like your mother.
Yes.
She must have been proud. Would you like some tea or coffee, perhaps? They're very obliging here.
Oh, no, thank you.
Or a glass of milk? I know you don't like polos.
Well, I do, actually. I was just being polite.
Oh, that's the spirit. There.
Thank you. Have you been here long, Mrs. Lancaster?
Oh, 2, 3 years. One loses touch with things. 3. One loses touch with people, too. Any relatives I have spend all their time abroad.
Oh, that must be sad.
Well, you meet new friends. Ada is a friend. She suffers terribly from arthritis. I do feel for her. You're looking at the fireplace.
Am I?
Yes. Excuse me. It wasn't your poor child.
No. I don't think so.
Oh, I thought perhaps you'd come for a reason. Someone will come, sometime. That's where the poor child was, you know. The poor dead child, behind the fire. Who?
Cuckoo! Cuckoo! Where's my cocoa?
Oh, you want your cocoa, Marjorie?
Yes, I do!
They really should give it to her on time.
Yes, they should.
I'll come and get it for you.
Tommy, what do you think to this place?
Excellent. Aunt Ada's been very happy here.
Mrs. Lancaster said something about a dead child being buried behind the fireplace.
Of course she did. And I would imagine they all complain that the cocoa's been poisoned and that the cleaner is trying to steal their purse. Look at that. What does that remind you of? Act 1, Scene 1. When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
afraid he's on the continent, on business.
This is Miss Vera Packard from Sunny Ridge.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you.
Your husband's aunt died in the night.
Oh, dear. Poor Ada. I realise this is not a good time, but I'll be in touch concerning funeral arrangements
And the transfer of her belongings to your husband.
Oh, that's the last of it. You could sign this, Mum.
Right. Now, are you sure that painting was Ada Beresford's? I don't remember it from her room. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mum.
Tommy, I'm writing down certain matters which have come to my knowledge in recent days here at Sunny Ridge. I believe there's a murderer at large. Mrs. Lancaster is not safe. I will remain watchful and shall record facts as they become clear to me. But if I should die, Tommy, look to the painting and for God's sakes, use your intelligence.
Hello?
Hello, this is Christopher Beresford's mother. May I speak with him, please?
He's on a field trip this week, Mrs. Beresford.
I see. Well, would you leave a message with Judith that her father's out of the country and that I'd like to speak with her?
I'll pass it on.
Thank you. Goodbye. Andrew, I think there's been a problem with Aunt Ada's death. I think she's been murdered. So, if you speak to your brother or sister, could you ask them to call me, please?
Have you been drinking again, Mother?
No.
Dad will be home in a few days, won't he? Mother?
Yes, darling.
Good afternoon. What can I do for you? Ada's funeral isn't until Monday.
No, I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Have all her belongings arrived safely?
No. That's just it. There's a painting amongst Ada's things which didn't belong to her. It's rather an attractive picture of a house in the woods. I'm sure she'd have wanted it returned to the rightful owner.
No, it was hers. It was a gift from Mrs. Lancaster. Oh. She had it in her room and Ada had always admired it.
May I speak with Mrs. Lancaster?
I'm afraid she doesn't live with us anymore. Her relatives came for her a couple of days ago. It was all rather sudden. Excuse me, please.
Both of them.
Both of whom?
Oh, excuse me, I was just talking to myself. I'm not sitting on your bench, am I?
Oh, I don't live here. I'm Jane Marple, a friend of Marjorie Moody's. We were neighbours in our village, St. Mary Mead. I couldn't help overhearing, but were you asking about the disappearance of Mrs. Lancaster?
Disappearance?
I'm here today because Marjorie has phoned me. She's distressed at what she saw the night Mrs. Lancaster left and your aunt died. You are a relative of Ada Beresford?
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, it's probably nothing. I don't know. Ada left a letter to be read after her death.
What did she write?
She wrote it the day before she died. Mrs. Lancaster is not safe. And within 24 hours, she's dead and Mrs. Lancaster's been taken away. And when I was last here, Mrs. Lancaster said she knew where a child was buried. That's what she said. And that someone was going to come for her. I think both friends discovered the identity of a murderer, Miss Marple. And now both of them are gone.
Marjorie, can you tell Mrs. Beresford why you think Mrs. Lancaster was taken against her will?
Well, she was. I've said it once and I'll say it again.
Go on, then.
You were sitting there?
I was. I keep watch.
And you'd fallen asleep?
I was woken by a noise.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to go with you.
Oh, my God.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Don't. Come back. Come back. And then Ada died, and they'd become so close.
Did you see the person taking her?
One eye.
The person only had one eye?
No, the car only had one eye.
One eye. And Mrs. Lancaster said that there was a child buried behind the fireplace in the sun lounge.
In my sun lounge?
I think that both she and Ada had discovered the identity of a murderer.
Mrs. Beresford, never a day goes by without some pearl of paranoia from the dear ladies that live here. Only last year, Mrs. Eburn left a note in her will claiming to be Copenhagen, the Duke of Wellington's favourite horse.
But Ada was as sharp as a knife. For her to write this seems so out of character, unless it was true.
You saw her maybe once every 2 years, Mrs. Beresford? How do you know it was out of character? Did you know Ada had been diagnosed with a heart complaint and wasn't expected to live much longer?
No, I was unaware of that.
Your husband was?
So, do you think we shouldn't go to the police about this?
There was nothing suspicious about her death.
Do you have a forwarding address for Mrs. Lancaster?
Of course.
Maybe it's still possible to forward that painting.
Care of the Cleveland Hotel, Piccadilly. And here's the solicitors we dealt with while her relatives were in Africa.
The relative who came to collect her?
Mrs. Johnson.
Mrs. Johnson.
Get in the taxi, quick!
Where are we going?
Get in. Go. To the nearest police station, please. It's Miss Packard. She's the murderer.
Really?
I have the proof with my own eyes. I saw her. She doesn't know this, but I saw her spiking the medicine, poison, with arsenic or strychnine.
I don't think it is Miss Packard.
Why not?
Because Miss Packard has always reminded me of lovely Mrs. Dickens, the publican's wife in St. Mary Mead. She's very kind, very dependable. The last person you'd think of criminal behaviour. But when things were tight after the war, the gin and whiskey always seemed a little watered down. This bottle you saw her spike, was it large and blue?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be the tonic. Very expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if Miss Packard was helping it go a bit further.
You mean she was diluting it?
I know for a fact that Miss Packard has a good heart. Marjorie's funds ran out during last year, and she insisted on letting her stay on at Sunny Ridge simply because it had become her home. The train station, not the police station, please.
But the fireplace was in her lounge.
A modern gas fire set against a wall rather than a chimney breast. There's no room for anything behind it. I think Mrs. Lancaster was talking of a different fire. Maybe go and have a look at that painting of yours, like Ada suggested.
Just so I have it right, no people called Johnson or Lancaster have stayed at your hotel over the last month? Very well. Thank you.
It's almost a very good painting, if it weren't for these blotches of amateurism. Strange perspective.
Yes, isn't it mysterious? Why hasn't the Cleveland heard of the Johnsons?
Because whoever took Mrs. Lancaster gave Miss Packard a false forwarding address. Use your intelligence.
Well, I would if I had some.
What does it mean?
Well, Tommy's in the... Oh, I shouldn't say this because of official secrets and everything, but my husband works for military intelligence. Abroad most of the year, visiting embassies and so on. I hope that's what she's referring to, because if it's my intelligence she's appealing to, well, the painting just looks like the gingerbread house in Hansel and Gretel to me. Would you like one?
No, thank you.
This may sound a little mad, but do you want to know what I think really happened here?
Go on.
Ada writes that Mrs. Lancaster is not safe. Why isn't she safe? Because she knows the secrets about a murder that her relatives are connected to. So they stick her into a retirement home where nobody will listen if she lets anything slip. But Ada listens, and Ada believes her. So the relatives cotton on, and when they come to whisk Mrs. Lancaster away, they could have killed Ada while she slept. It's all just too much of a coincidence that it happened the same night.
You're good at this.
I used to be. There was a time when Tommy and I would do things like this together. You know, I was approached to join the service at the same time as him. I was having our first child. Now I'm just someone to be kind to, someone to placate with the same postcards as he would send to his aunt. I'm going to go to the police and insist on a post-mortem.
No. Find the Johnsons first, because if you find them, you'll find Mrs. Lancaster. And there may still be an innocent explanation for this.
How will I find them?
Go to their solicitors on the pretext of returning the painting.
Well, the only female of the species who receives mail here is a Miss Forsyth. And as far as I know, she is not married to a Mr. Lancaster. Now, I know this because if she were, she'd ask me to address her by a different name.
Yes, but I wasn't saying that she works here, Mr. Eccles. I was saying you're her solicitor.
Oh, am I?
Yes, at least you take care of matters relating to her relatives, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, they're my clients, and he lives in Kenya. Though we're not supposed to say Kenya anymore. We're not proper. Gonna rap on the old knuckles, what?
That's right, but they're back from Kenya now. Would you have a current address for them?
Not current, no, but we do deal with matters pertaining to their account. Excuse me. The Southern Counters Bank, Hammersmith branch.
Right.
And that's all there is to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eccles. The bank wouldn't give out any information, Jane.
They never do, dear.
The trail's gone completely cold. It's as though that poor woman just disappeared into thin air. Oh, hello.
This is Mr. Timothy.
My pleasure, ma'am. May I, relieve you of your burden?
From the Eros Gallery, Piccadilly.
Oh, I see.
From my description on the phone, he recognized the painter's signature as that of Graham Boscawen. It made him very excited.
Boscawen's very in vogue at the moment. Terribly, terribly so. He died in penury several years ago. Since then, he's become a very rich man indeed. Oh, dear. Oh, heaven help us. An early work. He didn't flower till the 30s. This is very much a nursery plant, I'm afraid.
When was it painted?
Mid-20s. No later. At that stage in his career, he was taking weekend commissions to paint country houses, that sort of thing. Oh. This appears to be vandalized. I can't believe it's the artist's own hand. What a funny little cottage.
Yes. Do you know where it is?
I'm ahead of you there. He kept assiduous notes throughout his career from a very early age. I have here some, just a minute, to see the, there, you see,
Yes.
1925, the Witch's House, Farrell St. Edmund. You'll see the rope, the roses, this attempt at a figure, the name of the house, have all been added later.
Well, I found Farrell St. Edmund. Oh, it's where Norfolk meets the Fens.
Miss Murphy.
My nephew Raymond has suggested we stay at the Chase Hotel in Ely for the night.
Are you sure you want to come with me, Miss Marple?
Absolutely. Ada and Mrs. Lancaster are pointing us to the cottage. We should try and find it. Nice car.
It was a birthday present from Tommy. I always wanted one.
Sorry. Kangaroo petrol.
I'll get used to this in a minute. Hold on tight, Miss Marple. Well, Miss Marple, right or left?
Oh, I don't know. Oh.
Right or left?
Well, if all the signposts hadn't been destroyed, we'd have more of a clue.
You haven't got the map the wrong way up again, have you? I ask politely.
No. I respond. Oh, Farrell St. Edmund seems to be tucked away in a little pocket of woods, eh? Oh, we're practically on top of it. Right. Careful.
I'm being careful. Which way was it?
I think it's back the way. No, I stand corrected. I think it's over.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Have you any idea where we are?
Well, I'm normally good at map reading. My nephew Raymond says he wouldn't want another navigator.
Goodness sake about Raymond.
Oh.
I hope you've brought your thermal nightie with you, Miss Marple, because I'm afraid we might be stuck here for the night. In the middle of mad country.
Can you remember when we last saw a phone box? Wasn't there one on the Norwich Road before the Field of Frisians?
Jane.
Hey, these two girls broken down?
Yes.
Oh, where are you heading?
Farrell St. Edmund.
Oh, so are we.
Oh.
I'm Chris.
How'd you do?
Oh.
I know a local mechanic who can help you.
No, thank you.
Come on, hop in the back. Oh, we got your bags.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening to both of you travelers. I'm Hannah.
How'd you do?
How'd you do? Please take a seat. You must be exhausted.
Thank you, dear.
Ethan,
Have you seen Amos Perry?
Yeah, he's putting up a sign at the edge of the village. Someone keeps knocking him down.
Could you get him to have a look at this lady's car? It's broken down on the road toward the base.
Well, can't you do it yourself?
Hey, things to do. Hey, these ladies need a room for the night, Hannah. They're down here looking to buy a house.
How exciting.
Are you two ladies house hunting in the village?
Of a kind.
I got what you want. Great expense.
No, thanks.
I've got a lovely double room, recently decorated, in lime. Would that be all right?
Do you only have the one?
Yes, just the one. Oh, and a lavvy in the backyard, recently decorated in magenta. Let's do the bags first, Rosie, and show our house hunters to their room. Then maybe I can introduce you to our a la carte menu. How can we help with your quest to find a new home?
Chris, I'm glad I caught you. Do you have any tinned peaches or pears?
Oh, let me see. I got peaches and I got pears.
Okay. I promised his lordship a fruit salad.
So, what kind of place are you looking for?
Well, somewhere quite specific, actually. My friend Miss Marple here saw a painting of the witch's house in Farrell St. Edmund and fell in love with it, didn't you, dear?
I did.
And we were wondering where we might find it and if it might possibly be up for sale.
There's no such place.
A painting?
Yes, and where I left the car today, we actually saw a witch in the woods, didn't we, Jane?
Yes.
Oh, that's Alice, isn't it, Dad?
Alice Perry, Amos's mother. She did a play in the village hall and fell in love with her costume. Won't take it off.
I'm afraid the Perrys are soft in the head. Oh, hello. I'm Nellie Bly, the vicar's wife.
Oh, hello. The Perrys are fine. They're just a little bit country.
Is the vicar here a Septimus Bly?
Oh, yes, that's right. You say you have a painting of this house?
Yes, it's a Boscawen. It's very pretty. Perhaps one of you might know the house by a different name?
Well, it's not round here.
It's from a storybook, that.
Oh, yes, we have a legend here of a witch from the Middle Ages. I think this Boscawen has drawn it from his imagination. Where did you get the painting?
Oh, it belongs to a friend of my family. A Mrs. Lancaster. Is she a resident of the village?
No. No one of that name lived round here. Dr. Waters?
No.
Septimus? Septimus? I've brought you something to eat.
Go away. Go on.
I want to know
The letter, Rose.
who is she? Who is this woman? I'm risking everything for you.
It's not what you think.
Who is she? Tell me the truth.
Give me the letter, Rose, now.
Just be honest with me, Chris. Who is she, Chris?
She's no one.
You left here last Saturday and met up with this woman. I know you did.
Just give me the letter
She's
back.
making an arrangement for you to pick her up last Saturday evening. I want to know who she is.
Look, give me the letter.
Get off!
Aunt Ada paint?
No, never picked up a brush in her life.
Are you sure?
Yes. Oh, she hated poetry or music, any kind of art. She made the Philistines look like the Chelsea Arts Club.
If Ada never painted, then it must be Mrs. Lancaster who put in here what she knew. Water lily, the rope, the roses, this person at the window. Did Tommy like crosswords? The cryptic, intelligent ones?
Loved them. It was Ada who taught him how to do them as a boy.
Did she? Yes. I think what she meant was he should treat these as cryptic clues. Use your intelligence, she wrote.
I'll be glad when the Americans finally go. Won't you?
I believe I will, yes. Oh, yes.
If you asked me to marry you, I'd say yes, Ethan.
Will you?
Will I marry you?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, the Johnsons have run the local post office for years. Well, I say post office, but they've become a bit high and mighty since their success. They've invested their windfall in lots of new stock and are renaming their shop Johnson's Emporium. Aren't they, Ethan?
They are, yeah.
How have they come into money?
Well, Sir Philip Stark lives at the Manor House, made a fortune in mining. He dotes on the Johnsons' daughter and provides for them all.
Sir Philip invests in lots of things now, including films.
Mm-hmm. He's put cash into this Jane Eyre picture, pulled a few strings and got Nora apart, which is why we're all being treated to a regional premiere this weekend.
To celebrate how wonderful Nora is.
He's having a cocktail party this evening.
Oh, Mrs. Beresford, Amos said he'd flooded your engine. He'll have it cleaned out for you by this afternoon.
Oh, thank you very much.
Beresford? Well, that's me. I'm Beresford as well. Maybe we're related.
Not unless you had an Aunt Ada and a cousin Tommy. My husband's extended family is quite small.
I had an Aunt Ada. Well, no, she was more of a distant cousin, really. Spent a few summers here years ago. Do you think she's the same one?
Lancaster? No, we don't have a relative called Lancaster. Do we, Eric?
No, we have a Kendall.
Oh, yes, we have a Kendall in the family.
Which is a town near Lancaster. I don't know if that's any good to you.
No, not really.
Maybe it's some other Johnsons you're looking for.
Have you spent any time in Kenya recently?
We've been very busy recently.
Recently, yes.
We haven't had any time for travel.
Our daughter's taking her first steps towards Hollywood.
Is she playing Jane Eyre in the film?
No.
Helen Burns.
Helen Burns.
Yes, the other part, Jane's friend who dies of leukemia.
Which is lovely.
Oh, it's lovely.
Good morning. Is Nora ready?
Good morning, Sir Philip.
Sir Philip here is a personal friend of Alfred Hitchcock and Sir Michael Bolton.
Have you ladies found your dream house yet?
Oh.
Oh, are you the ladies looking for this house you saw in a painting?
Yes, that's right.
When I bought the manor, I inherited all the old maps relating to the village. If you bring the painting up this afternoon, we could see if anything matches its description.
Oh, thank you.
1 o'clock.
I'm afraid Nora won't come down, Sir Philip.
But we arranged that she was going to come to the manor all day.
She says that you're 5 minutes late, sir.
That's right.
Late? I've never been late in my life. Is it all right if I come and have a word with her?
No! I wanted the brown pony today.
Nora!
I will not ride the white one.
But yes, you will.
I hate the white one. I asked you for the brown one. I hated it again.
Does Sir Philip have any children of his own, Dr. Waters?
No, his wife lost a child and died herself soon after. He'd bought the manor house as a family home to fill it with children. You have never seen such money spent in preparation for a child, but it was stillborn. And they went on holiday to the continent to get over it, and she died there. Broken heart. He's always doted on the kids we've had in the village. Oh, he was very good to my Rose when she was growing up.
Old men can sometimes become too sentimental around children.
Really? I find myself becoming less tolerant. Morning.
Not at the moment, no. Can I help you?
That's it. I knew I recalled the name from somewhere. The Bishop of Norwich came to stay with the vicar at St. Mary Mead last year. They're old friends from their days in the seminary. And over dinner, they talked at length about a third friend from that time. Septimus Bligh, who they both described as the most spiritual young man they've ever known.
All right, you two. Sling her up, we're closed.
These are the two ladies I was telling you about, Septimus.
I don't give a monkey's. We do the services we're obliged to do, and that's that. Out.
Miss Marple knows the bishop, dear.
The bishop?
He spoke very fondly of you at dinner last year.
May we ask you a few questions about some of the families in your parish?
Septimus was, of course, joking when he said he kept the church door locked except for services.
It's a joke I often play on our visitors, which they seem to enjoy.
Would you like to come to the vicarage for some luncheon? I was just finishing up here. It would be no trouble.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Lovely. Your appointment with Sir Philip is at 1 o'clock, isn't it?
That's right.
Nellie is Sir Philip's local secretary. Aren't you, dear?
Yes.
Actually, she does almost everything for him. Chief cook and bottle washer. His wife passed away. There's a plaque over there on the wall, and he's useless without a woman's touch around the manor.
Who are the Warrenders?
Oh, they used to be the big wigs round here.
The Warrender family lived at Farrell Manor for nearly 900 years.
Why did they move out?
They died out. People say they didn't marry properly. Sir Philip bought the estate in 1924. Since when he's turned the place around.
Well, the parish records have no mention of... Sorry, dear, am I interrupting?
No, dear.
Thanks, dear. We have no record in the parish of Lancaster. And the only Johnsons we have are the parents of that intolerable, evil little child.
Oh.
Who we both like very much.
You said this Mrs. Lancaster, who owned the painting, was a family friend?
Yes, she was a friend of my husband's aunt, Ada Beresford, who I believe spent a couple of summers here in the village. I think she stayed at the Bull and Butcher.
Oh, the Beresfords. Yes.
She said that Mrs. Lancaster and the Johnsons were friends from the village. Unless she was mistaken.
No question about that. I've lived here for 30 years and I've never set eyes on that house before.
Maybe Sir Philip will come up with something.
Did you see the painting?
What do these women know, Josh? I don't know. The name on the painting is Water Lily.
I know.
Water Lily.
The map is from 1516. And it's the earliest we inherited from the Warrenders, isn't it, Nellie?
Some of these buildings here are still standing.
The legend of the witch and her house originates much earlier than that, of course.
The house in the painting looks like it was built much later than 1516.
Oh, yes, but I think that proves it's from Boscawen's imagination.
Oh, this is a Boscawen?
Boscawen was definitely here. Soon after we moved in, I commissioned a landscape of the estate for Julia, my wife. Boscawen was here for 3 weeks, where he must have heard the legend.
What is the legend?
I know.
Oh, that's a good idea. Why don't you tell our guests, Laura?
In the olden days, when Sir Guillaume de Warrender first came here.
The family came from France at the time of the Norman conquests.
I'm telling the story, Nellie Bly.
Let her finish, please.
There was a witch at the edge of the village who used to steal the children.
Rather like Hansel and Gretel, hmm?
I also know where the witch's house is.
Where?
That house is where Alice Perry lives.
No, it isn't.
She's the only witch around here.
Got a bottle of Glenfiddich here. Do you want to help me christen it?
Chris.
Miss Marple, will you be able to give Rose this?
When are you leaving, Chris?
Saturday.
Oh. Why don't you give this to her yourself?
Because she won't see me anymore. But this is what we'd always planned, that she'd come over on the boat after I leave. I still want it to be her decision.
Why won't she see you?
I think now it's come to it, she's not going to be able to leave her dad. Not after what happened to her twin.
Rose had a twin?
Lily. And they lost her when she was about 18 months. She was last seen playing on the grass in front of her house.
What do you mean, lost her?
She went missing from the village. There was a search, but they didn't find her body until about 2 weeks later, somewhere in the woods. It still haunts Dr. Waters, and I think he's found out what we're planning and is putting pressure on her not to go. She's all he's got. Just, tell her I love her.
What was that all about?
Lily Waters. This is it. Water Lily. This is the murder Mrs. Lancaster knew about. The child behind the fireplace.
Ada must have recognized the house in the painting. It must be here somewhere. Why is everyone lying to us?
Sorry I'm late.
I've just had a visit from a rather nervous Ethan. Asking for permission to marry you.
I've already given permission.
So I gather. It's good, Rose. Your mother would have approved.
There it is. Mr. Perry? Mr. Perry? Oh, hello. I'm Mrs. Beresford. I wondered when my car would be ready.
5 minutes.
Oh, good.
Whose Bentley is it?
Sir Philip's.
What's it doing here?
It was stolen. Last Saturday night. They did for one of his back eyes. Here, take a look.
Does Sir Philip know who stole it?
Americans wanted Alice. Returned it like this.
Does he know which American?
That Chris wanted Alice.
That's right.
One who's always after Rose Waters.
Mrs. Lancaster.
Thank you. Beresford.
Tommy, you must order a post-mortem for Aunt Ada. Find out exactly how she was murdered.
What?
She left a letter behind a painting saying she was in fear of her life.
Ada would have
died of heart disease, Tuppence.
The polo mints and the one-eyed car and the witch's house all point at Ada being right. She'd learned too much about the death in 1926 of Lily Waters, and someone killed her.
I want you to come home.
No, Tommy, you must listen to me.
I know things have been difficult
Since the children left home, that you've been alone, that you've lost confidence.
I want you to stay where you are, in Farrell St. Edmund.
Colonel Beresford.
And who is this?
My name is Jane Marple. Your wife is right in that there is a real possibility that Ada was murdered at Sunny Ridge and Mrs. Lancaster abducted by someone in this village. We are about to contact the police here and would appreciate you authorizing that post-mortem. Do you understand?
Would you go away, please, and put my
wife back on the line?
Do you know Sir Henry Clithering, the Commissioner of Scotland Yard?
Well, yes, of course.
Our paths have crossed before and we count each other as personal friends. If you have any doubt as to how seriously to take these allegations, I suggest you contact him, Colonel Beresford.
He won't make that call.
No. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And we'll find out who was driving that Bentley without him, won't we?
Ah, Sir Henry. Tommy Beresford, MI6. Yes. Sir Henry, do you by any chance know an old biddy called Miss Marple?
Sir Philip?
Is there a problem, Ethan?
Very sorry, sir. But it seems that our guests from the village have not been looking for property, sir.
Well, haven't they?
No. I've spoken to Scotland Yard, Sir Henry Clithering, actually. And it seems that on evidence supplied by our guests, they're wanting to investigate the possible abduction of an old lady from Sunny Ridge retirement home in Oxfordshire.
Well, you must do your duty, Ethan.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Can I ask where you were on Saturday night, sir?
Why?
It appears that the car used in the abduction was yours, Sir Philip.
What are you doing here? We bought the nibbles for tonight, like Sir Philip asked. Where's Septimus? At your house?
I only realized the Bentley was taken when I saw the damage on Sunday morning. I didn't report it, Ethan, because I didn't want to cause trouble with the American lads who I thought must have pinched it for a jape. I'm relying on them this weekend to lend me the cinema equipment.
Of course.
Were you here all evening, Sir Philip?
Yes. Where were you in all evening?
I was. I popped out a little later in the afternoon to get some stuff from the Johnson shop, and those Americans must have taken it.
So you were on duty when the Bentley went missing?
Yeah, I was meeting up with Rose last Saturday, but it didn't happen. No, I couldn't get away from the base.
The other night, Chris, outside the pub, I could hear you and Rose having an argument.
I want to know who she is!
Give me the letter!
Get off!
You know what women are like. You cancel a date and they think you're in the arms of another girl.
And were you?
Why would I want to be with anyone else?
Christopher Murphy, I'm arresting you on suspicion of stealing Sir Philip Stark's Bentley and for the abduction of... Where are you going?
You're not arresting me for anything, Ethan.
Come back! I'm a policeman! I know he did it. I was with Rose that evening, and he stood her up at exactly the same time the Bentley went missing.
What would be his motive?
The motive was his guilt written all over his face.
Is what I hear true, Dr. Waters? Is she marrying him?
Thank you, Alice.
No, my dear. But you look after yourself.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Miss Marple. Would you give this back to Chris, please, Miss Marple?
Why are you marrying Ethan Maxwell, Rose, and not the man you really care about?
Because he promised everything, Miss Marple. Love. New life away from here. And then he carries on with other women behind my back.
He doesn't seem the type of boy who would do that.
Then how do you explain this? I found it in his jacket last Sunday, the day after he stood me up.
Does he know you're pregnant, Rose?
No. No one does.
Apart from Alice Perry, who prepared a ginger linctus for you, I presume to counteract any nausea.
Please don't tell Chris or Ethan.
Yes, of course, Ethan, I pinched a Bentley. What was I supposed to have done?
Driven to Oxfordshire.
Oh, yes. Driven to Oxfordshire and stolen a lady. Ah, Eric, I've been accused of stealing a lady. Why?
Yes, why?
For my own personal enjoyment, I imagine.
How lovely. Come on, Danny.
Was she in her 20s?
She was 75.
Ah, yes. Well, who do I have to bless to get a decent drink around here?
My husband was with me all Saturday evening. It's the night he writes his sermons, isn't it, dear? And I was helping him cross-reference between the Gospels.
And what was the text for the sermon?
Yes, what was it, Nell?
The Good Samaritan.
Ah, yes. Bloody do-gooder.
Septimus.
Well, he was, wasn't he? Gosh, this collar's killing. Excuse me.
Ethan, have you asked that young American yet? Sir Philip's sure it was him or one of his compatriots.
Good evening, Miss Packard.
Colonel Beresford,
Inspector James, Scotland Yard.
how can I help you?
I am here on the authority of the Commissioner of Scotland Yard. My Aunt Ada was poisoned, Miss Packard. A post-mortem has revealed that she died as a result of an overdose of morphine.
Morphine?
Morphine.
You're after a drink. I recognize a fellow soak when I see one. Do you hide your bottles under hedges and behind books on bookshelves? Why'd you drink?
Why do you?
Because life is empty of meaning. I thought you and that other nervy lady were looking for a house, not a woman.
We thought the house might lead us to the woman.
Water, Lily.
What happened to Lily Waters? Reverend Bly.
Rose is such a pretty name.
Yes.
She was telling me she had a twin, Lily. The doctor in my village has a daughter called Iris because it's his wife's favourite flower. Did you choose your daughter's names for a similar reason?
Yes. My wife's favourite was the Tudor rose, and mine was the lily.
How did your wife die?
We lost Lily, Miss Marple. My wife never really recovered. But if they ever leave you, they take half of you with them.
They searched all over for the little girl.
Did they find her?
Not till 2 weeks later. Job found her. Amos's brother, Job.
Where?
In the woods. Job was, off kilter, you know, the way people used to get round here. And they didn't see anyone else for generations, the way the Warrenders got. And old Job was a country boy, and he believed all that Halloween guff about spirits in the woods and witches that turn into mice and birds and country law. Anyway, people thought, well, Job found her. Maybe Job took her in the first place.
And did he?
Job hanged himself.
Did they know how the child died?
And they did all sorts of tests, and I thought maybe poison.
Chris?
Rose. The last 2 planes are leaving tomorrow. I'm on the second one. Use your ticket, Rose.
If you can't tell me what you were doing last Saturday night and who you were with, then how can I trust you?
I'll be at the film for a while tomorrow. If you want it, I'll have your ticket.
What were you doing?
See, what I don't understand is both of the Waters sisters were referenced in the painting, right?
Yes.
And you see, oh, Miss Beresford, could I have another, if you would be so kind?
I think she wants to leave.
It was Lily, with the name of the house, and Rose with the flowers. Of course, the rope has to be Job, but God knows who's supposed to be standing at the window. You see, what Mrs. Lancaster said to me was it your poor child behind the fire?
And Lily didn't die in a fire.
Exactly.
She was poisoned.
So where's the fire? She was specific.
Oh, thank you. Shall we take our drinks upstairs?
Oh, that's so kind of you. Good night, Miss Marple.
Good night, Miss Beresford.
Good night, Mrs. Beresford. Oh, good night, Miss Beresford. Oh.
Shall we go upstairs, dear? Let's go upstairs.
Oh.
There we are. Oh, whoops. That's it, dear. Oh, what time does Scotland Yard come in the morning?
Upstairs.
That's it. Oops, it is.
Come to bed. Come.
Oh, what is it, my darling?
She just wants me to lie and lie, Hannah.
Nellie?
Well, of course, Nellie. Nellie, I want her to die.
Something's making a strange screeching noise behind the fireplace.
Look. This is a warning.
Something wicked this way comes.
Someone's trying to scare us.
Behind the fireplace.
Are you all right, Miss Marple? Mrs. Beresford? Are you all right?
They're getting very close.
Mr. Eccles.
Oh. Excuse me, but in my legal capacity, I must ask that you make an appointment with my secretary, Miss Forsyth.
Please sit down.
No, very well of you to say that. My seat's wet.
Sit down. My name is Colonel Beresford of MI6. This is Inspector James of Scotland Yard. We have reason to suspect clients of yours, the Johnsons, of being involved in murder and abduction. If you do not tell me everything that you know about them, you will be arrested for perverting the course of justice. Do you understand me?
Well, Johnson is what you might call a quiet client. One doesn't ask her too many questions about.
What is his full name?
Well, he doesn't use his real name, I have no doubt.
What is his real name?
Well, heaven knows. Apart from dealing with the bank accounts, we have had correspondence with a fellow. I have some... Yes. Commandant Go Repair.
Who?
Go Repair, care of the Post Office, Farrell St. Edmund.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are lucky in this community to have living amongst us a great man. A great philanthropist who has worked tirelessly through charitable trusts to improve the lot of his fellow man. And of course, a great patron of the arts. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Philip.
Last night, up at the airbase, I discovered Chris Murphy tried to sign a car out from the vehicle pool but was denied permission. Look. Consequently, no one up there saw him. He went AWOL, which is a military term.
Yes, but between which times was he gone?
4 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning. Easily enough time to get to Sunny Ridge and back. And I went over Sir Philip's Bentley and found this. Fallen down between the front seats.
Helen Burns.
Hey, looking forward to this?
Hello.
Apparently, Nora's only got one line.
Now, it's a great pleasure to present Miss Nora Johnson in Jane Eyre. Thank you. Lights.
To think that I'll have to go through life without you. Oh, don't cough, Helen. Every cough breaks my aching heart. Just have a glass of water.
Should arrest him now.
Scotland Yard will be here soon, and they've asked us to wait, Ethan.
The Americans are moving out today. By tonight, he could be in a different country.
Is there anything you would like to say to your dear Jane before you leave me, Helen? You are my kindest friend.
What was that? You couldn't hear me. No, stop it!
Sir Philip Stark?
Yes. What on earth's going on?
Stop the film, please. Stop the film! Right, where are they, Sir Philip? Ah. Eric and Betty Johnson?
Yes?
Colonel Beresford, MI6. You are under arrest for the murder of Ada Beresford and the abduction of Mrs. Lancaster.
There must be some mistake.
You're not obliged to say anything. Take them out.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you mind leaving now, please?
Am I Commandant Bow Repair? No.
No.
That's not me.
That's not him. He comes from Luton.
For the past 12 years, correspondence has been addressed to him, Commandant Bow Repair, at your address.
Yes, that's right.
Well, who picks it up?
We're not gossips.
No.
Never.
No.
It's easy to gossip if you deal with the post, and we don't do it.
Who picks it up?
Only Commandant Bow Repair I know is the name of the rose. The red and white one. Round here they call it the York and Lancaster, the Tudor rose.
Nellie Bly picks it up.
Would you allow me to lead this investigation, please, darling?
She's right.
We think it's the code name for Nellie Bly's fancy man.
Oh, no. No, it's the code name she uses when she's dealing with the old lady who she hides away in an old people's home. I saw this on her desk yesterday.
But this refers to the care of a Mrs. York, not Lancaster.
I think she'd use both York and Lancaster, maybe alternating between them whenever she moved home. We thought the roses in the painting meant Rose Waters, but they don't. They mean the old lady herself. Did Miss Packard give a good description of the Mrs. Johnson and other names stolen from the village who came to pick the old lady up?
Yes. Yes. Did she give a good description?
Please, sir.
It couldn't have been Nellie Bly, because she was helping Septimus with a sermon that night.
Oh, no, Tuppence. Septimus and Nellie have a cold marriage. On the surface, the writing of the sermon is a lie to hide the fact that Septimus spends every night with the one woman in the village who really loves him. Hannah. The Blys were anxious that this adultery didn't get back to the bishop, for if it did, he would lose his living. But once you've unpicked that lie, the person left without an alibi is Nellie. This has been Nellie all along. It was she who had the best access to Sir Philip's car. She who corresponded with the solicitor, no doubt she who tried to scare us off last night, and she who took Mrs. Lancaster from Sunnyridge.
Mrs. Packard describes her as early 40s, 5'5", brown eyes, and always wears glasses.
Mr. Policeman!
What is it?
Nellie Bly's dead, sir.
What happened?
She's been run over, sir.
It's got to be Chris Murphy, sir. He left the film before anyone else, and these Americans drive their trucks like lunatics.
By the state of her injuries, it is a heavy vehicle, sir. It could easily have been the truck.
What's the name?
Chris Murphy, sir.
Where are these Americans based?
I'll take you there myself, sir.
It was an accident. Honestly. I didn't see her. I just didn't see her. thought I'd hit a pothole or something, you know, an animal. But when I got out, Mrs. Bly was at the side of the road.
Why didn't you report this accident?
Because it wasn't an accident, sir. I think that somehow, in some way, which I'm sure will be revealed by somebody, you were in league with Nellie Bly.
To do what?
You went with her to Sunny Ridge. And when the truth was about to be exposed, and before you tried to leave the country, you took your truck and you murdered her with it. Well, how do you explain the presence of your cap in Sir Philip Stark's Bentley?
Because you'd put it there, hadn't you, Ethan? Hadn't you? To blacken the name of your rival for Rose. You've been trying to shift suspicion onto Chris from the beginning of the investigation.
It's probable that Nellie Bly was not working alone, so let's check her husband, her employer, and anybody else who may have a link to this Mrs. Lancaster. Darling, you can leave this to us now. Please.
Are you English, Chris?
Half. My parents divorced and I went to live with my dad when I was 10.
And who's Sylvia? Is she the woman you arranged to pick up at 8 p.m. last Saturday? Who is she, Chris? Is she your mother? Where does she live?
London. They wouldn't let me have a car, so I went on the train. You know, ever since I've been here, I've been trying to find her. Trying to get the courage to go and see her. She had another family. She didn't want to know.
And you're ashamed of this? Ashamed of telling Rose? Why?
It appears that you are off the hook. That was the hospital on the telephone. Nellie Bly was not killed in the accident. She was dead before you hit her. She had been poisoned.
I'm thinking Nellie didn't do this alone.
So who was helping her?
Well, whose car was it?
Who didn't report it missing?
Who was Nellie Bly in love with? So much so that she tolerated her husband living with another woman?
Sir Philip Stark. But he didn't go to Sunny Ridge with her. He was at the Emporium when she would have to have been on the road.
What was he buying? Stocking up on basic provisions because he was expecting a sudden guest.
Mrs. Lancaster. If only I could have another look at Nellie's desk at the manor. I'm sure I'd find lots of papers relating to Mrs. Lancaster. Papers that would draw a straight line to Philip Stark and reveal who this Mrs. Lancaster really is.
Oh, I know who she is. Don't you?
Who?
I just don't know where to find her. Why are the bells ringing at this time of night?
What on earth's going on?
It's Septimus, sir. You've got to come. He wants all of you. Come quickly.
All of us.
Quick.
You go.
Yes.
Septimus! What are you doing?
I'm calling you to confession. I know it's what the other lot do, but tonight we're going to do a bit of it here. When I first came here, I had a future. Isn't that true, Sir Philip? I was going to be a bishop. I could have gone higher. This was the first rung for me. And Nellie. We had ambitions. But then a child disappeared from this village, taken from outside her house as she was playing. And as the spiritual leader, I had to make sense of this. But how do you make sense of something insensible? When Lily Waters was murdered in our village, Job Perry knew we all blamed him for it. And he came to me and he begged me for help, for guidance, for a friend. And I turned him out. I'm sorry, Amos. But that night your brother hanged himself from a tree because I hadn't helped him. I hadn't helped him. And later, I realized he was innocent of that crime. My wife revealed to me who'd taken that child and killed that child. And my wife begged me to stay quiet about Job's innocence and do what was right. Said it was in our interest to stay quiet.
Who killed the child, Septimus? If you do not reveal who the killer was, there is a serious possibility that you will be arrested for perverting the course of justice. Do you understand?
Some secrets have been buried too deep and for too long to be easily revealed. Isn't that true, Septimus? The Perrys weren't the only family in these parts that suffered from the softness of interbreeding, were they, Septimus? The Warrenders, at the other end of the social scale, suffered the same affliction. But the last one had married properly, hadn't she, Sir Philip? It had struck me as odd that your wife's memorial plaque was with the other Warrenders, for that's her family, isn't it? Julia Stark was the last Warrender.
Yes.
And Julia Stark had taken Lily Waters and killed her.
Yes!
And Nellie, full of deference to the social order, full of loyalty to you, Sir Philip, had agreed to support you in the cover-up, to let the blame fall on a man who couldn't defend himself, and to persuade her husband to allow a fraudulent plaque to be placed in his church.
Hansel and Gretel.
If a woman is battling psychological problems, then pregnancy, and especially the loss of a child, can be the crisis that pushes her over the edge. I believe this must have happened to your wife. She was a late mother, maybe 40, and I think you were aware of the immense pressure she was under. You brought her old family home and moved her here to where she had been happy as a child herself. You prepared the house for the arrival of the child with love, and when it didn't arrive, she took one from the village.
My wife is dead.
The wife you knew is dead. But down the years, you and Nellie have taken care of the shell that was left of Julia, haven't you? Keeping her resident in institutions, I imagine, then retirement homes. Hiding her identity through the use of pseudonyms like Mrs. York and Mrs. Lancaster. I think Colonel Beresford's aunt had stumbled across the truth at Sunny Ridge. Maybe she had recognized the name of the village when talking about the painting and asked too many questions. When she wrote, Mrs. Lancaster is not safe, what she had meant was not that Mrs. Lancaster was in danger, but that Mrs. Lancaster was the danger.
Behind a fireplace.
Do come in. Please, sit down. What a very pretty brooch, isn't it? Would you like a look? I've met you before, haven't I?
Yes, Julia. At Sunny Ridge.
Sunny Ridge?
Yes. You told me that there was a child behind the fireplace.
Yes. Yes, I did. That fireplace. Where is she now, Sir Philip? Is she in the house Boscawen painted? House you and Nellie went to great lengths with your maps to prove didn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yes, it does. I've played in it. It's a playhouse he built for the babies in the woods on the estate. Before he showed me, it had been abandoned for 25 years. No one knew it was there.
Where is it, Nora?
Is this where you brought Lily Waters?
To play? While I watched? Why let all this love go to waste?
Why did you kill her?
Why should my baby die and the common child live? Some things are simple when you look at them right. You know what you have to do. Have a glass of milk, my dear.
And what about Ada Beresford?
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. That was a simple thing to see. Glass of milk, my dear?
No, thank you.
Ada wasn't the first. All those with a little knowledge down the years have been removed. And Philip has moved me somewhere new. I always wanted Philip to move me, not that woman who coveted him. Stay sitting there. I have told you.
Is that why you killed Nellie Bly today?
Is that her name? Milk, my dear.
No.
Please, Julia. I will take that. Thank you, Julia. Enough, Julia.
Philip. She knows, Philip.
Enough, please.
Philip. She knows.
It's all right, my darling. It's all right.
Sir Philip and Lady Stark, I am arresting you for the murder of Nellie Bly, Ada Beresford, and Lily Waters.
Please.
You're not obliged to say anything. But anything you do say will be taken down and may be used in evidence.
Alice and I are going to get married.
With your permission, sir.
Yes, of course.
And we're gonna set up home here, sir.
Who would like a good old-fashioned English cooked breakfast?
A Beresford special.
A Beresford special, yes.
That's run in the family. It's the only thing he knows how to cook.
Oh, then I look forward to your help in the kitchen, cousin.
Thank you, Miss Marple. You did most of this yourself, Tuppence. Remember that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I thought I'd lost you, Tuppence.
I thought I'd lost you, Tommy. A long time ago. After breakfast, let's just go straight back to London.
Yes.
And I'll drive.